Reed, it's time for rapid-fire questions with former Alabama running back Bobby Humphrey.
Indeed. Here we go. Do you mind if we start calling you the Hump?
Yes.
Okay.
Bobby, sadder story, where the red fern grows or what's happened to Legion Field?
The Hump.
Ooh, that was a good
Nice.
answer. Very good.
Nice.
All right. You played at Alabama. Do you mind saying Roll Tide for the camera?
Oh, absolutely. Roll Tide.
Very good, yes.
Your son plays at Arkansas. Do you mind saying Woo Pig Suey for the camera?
Woo! Pig Suey.
That was impressive.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
very
Now,
impressive.
Auburn won the national championship last year. In the spirit of sportsmanship, do you mind saying War Eagle?
Question mark.
Okay, good answer.
Do you know who James Franklin is?
Some kin to Benjamin Franklin.
That makes sense, but no. I've seen your hairdo when you played for the Broncos, and it begs the question, were you ever a member of Kid and Play?
Absolutely.
Good, cool.
First cousin.
Nice.
How many national championships do you think Alabama will win this year?
2.
Okay. Sadder story, where the red fern grows, or whatever in the world has happened to Auburn's team this year.
Whatever's happened to Auburn's team this
It's
year.
pretty sad,
Yeah,
no
really,
doubt.
really
yeah.
sad.
Mhm.
Who's more handsome, me or Reed?
Tough one.
Coin toss. I go with Reed.
If you could travel back in time 25 years, what bit of advice would you give yourself?
Oh,
Think about that hairdo.
Think about those 5 kids.
get a better haircut.
Oh, very good. If you could travel back in time 25 minutes, what advice would you give yourself about this interview?
I would think twice about doing it.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yeah,
That's probably smart.
For sure,
yeah.
smart thinking.
Well
Hey,
played.
Yeah, Bobby, thanks a lot. You did great. How about an elevator ride?
Sounds good to me.
Great.
Awesome.
Reed, it's time for the grill with former Alabama running back and current Alabama legend, Bobby Humphrey. Bobby, thanks for riding the elevator with us.
All right, so let's jump right into this. Big game for Alabama this week in Gainesville. Who's going to win that game?
Alabama's going to win that game.
Do you think they'll win easily, or do you think this will be a bit of a challenge for them?
I think it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but I think they will, roll on to victory.
A lot of people are putting a lot of stock in the win over Arkansas this past week, and it was a very impressive win, but now you've got the inside scoop on Arkansas, and I'm curious to know, because you have a son who plays there, a wide receiver, I'm curious to know, what sort of team do you think this really is that Alabama beat? Are they as good as people advertised heading into the big showdown in Tuscaloosa?
I was hoping we was going to get through this interview without the Arkansas.
No, we have to
well,
talk about
I
it.
10
guess
more
I-
minutes.
Yeah.
I guess I have to answer the question then. Now, following Arkansas, I thought they had they have a very, very good ball club. So going into that ball game, after watching them on the first 3 ball games, I thought it would be a much, much closer game. And Alabama just played so well, it made Arkansas look like they were just not a very, very good football team. That's not the case. I mean, Alabama's a very good football. Arkansas is a very good football team. Wow.
You almost slipped up and said Auburn was a good football team.
Yeah, I almost slipped that, boy.
Oh, come on, man. So, being a former Alabama player and a current Alabama legend, and then having your son play for Arkansas, did you wear just maybe an off-red shirt to the game?
Well, I actually had on a little bit of both, Arkansas and Alabama, a cap, and I had on an Arkansas shirt with a pullover. So I kind of had a little bit of both, and I was probably one of the oddest ones in the stand, kind of cheering for both teams. But, I do have a son at Arkansas,
Sure.
and I did play with the Crimson Tide, so I had to cheer for both. And but when my son was in there, it was all for my Driggers Humphrey now.
You've been a coach, right? So you've thought about strategy and football strategy and all of that. I've noticed this year watching Auburn play that they have decided to go with a strategy where they're not going to try to tackle people on defense. Do you think that's a good strategy for them to follow? Why do you think they're not tackling this year?
That is so funny.
It is kind of funny to watch them try to tackle, but I don't know if it's a good decision.
It's probably not funny to Auburn fans.
Probably a little sad and depressing. We
Probably
wouldn't
sad.
know. No.
You don't expect that to happen when you get to college. The guys, to be so poorly tacklers, but I just think that may be just one ball game. I think they're going to get things together, and they need to get them done pretty quick.
Bobby, you're not taking any pleasure in this, are you? Because it almost seems as though you're...
I'm not taking any pleasure in it, but it's just so true that have been doing a bad job of tackling.
Do you think Auburn will jump up and beat some teams they're not expected to, especially given how low the expectations are right now after struggling against FAU? Yeah.
Oh, they will beat somebody. I mean, Auburn is one of those SEC teams. I think Coach Chisholm is a very, very good coach. They're not going to lay down for anybody.
You grew up near Legion Field, is that correct?
No, I grew up in Legion.
In Legion Field.
No, I grew up near Legion Field.
So,
the reason why I said in Legion Field, I sold Cokes there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I worked at the concession stands.
Okay, so even better. So
childhood.
here's my question for people. You know, we all grew up in Birmingham. You grew up right there. You know, I a lot of times find myself just sort of feeling sad about what's going on with Legion Field. It seems like it's not getting any love. What's your opinion about that? What do you think the future should be for Legion Field?
Wow, I love Legion Field. I mean, I grew up right across the street from it. During the days when Alabama played there, it was just like a great economic impact for the kids that lived in the projects there. We sold, you sold Cokes in the stadium, you parked cars, so you had a way to make some extra, I shouldn't say extra money. You had a way to make some money.
Right.
Because it wasn't an extra money. But I mean, And I always dreamed of playing there and never got a chance to play there when I was in high school. My first ball game ever in Legion Field was when I got to the University of Alabama. And I walked across that parking lot every morning going to Glenn High School. So I love Legion Field. What's the future for it? I really,
It's
really
hard
don't
to
know.
say.
It's hard to say.
It's not bright. How much fun is it being a former player in this state, and not just a former player, but a former player of your caliber? I mean, people have to know who you are most everywhere you go. Are you that kind of perfect celebrity? Do you like your celebrity status?
I really love my celebrity status because, when I was playing, it was overwhelming. But now that, I'm not as a focal point in terms of a celebrity guy, I can actually kind of do the things I always like to do, and go places where I'm not immediately recognized.
Right.
So that part of it I really, really love. But I also love the part of when I'm sitting down at dinner and somebody come up and they can just about give me play for play in a Tennessee game.
Yeah.
Said, man, you had 215 yards that game. You scored 3 touchdowns. Man, y'all beat Tennessee 56-28. And, that kind of lets you know that fans really appreciate, I'm talking about the entire state, not just Alabama. I'm talking about Auburn, Jack State, and all the schools.
UAB,
there.
if they had fans, definitely. Yeah.
But, it's just that, that you get that notoriety of fans that really appreciate your days of playing ball here in the state of Alabama. Even at Glenn High School, people still remember my career at Glenn.
Right.
And remember me with the orange socks. Imagine orange socks.
You with orange
Now,
socks.
when you have a name like Bobby Humphrey, right, and then you have a former, I guess, Jefferson County commissioner named Bobby Humphreys.
Well, I tell you, this here, people mistakenly thought I won the county commission.
Congratulated you.
Yeah,
Yes.
congratulated me. And my own neighbors. I was getting my mail at the mailbox, and one of my neighbors passed by walking his dog. Go, congratulations! I voted for you, Bobby. Congratulations.
Boy.
I didn't tell him any different. I
Bobby,
just like,
let me
thank
tell
you.
you.
Maybe that's the whole reason the other guy won. Because everybody thought they were voting for you.
Well,
Listen,
you actually never really, you never really saw who was actually running for the commission.
Nobody cares about that.
I have people to comment and say, man, what in the world are you thinking? I just saw your sign up down the road. You running for county commission? Are you? I said, that's not me.
Hey, jerk, you don't even know my name. Yeah, that's a.
They
it's a
never really
different
bothered
name.
to see the S on the last, on the end of it after a while. I'm like,
These
okay.
people.
well, Bobby Humphrey, former running back from Alabama, thanks so much for joining us. This has been fun.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Up next, it's time for the Innisfree Trivia Minute.